Hello, my name is Allie, and welcome to Funny Fat Friend, a podcast about this bodacious biracial babe trying to find herself in film. Here's an update. We have been protesting here in Louisville for 148 days for justice. I'm going to post the link to the wish list of supplies we are in need of here for protesters again, and if you're able to, still give to the Louisville Bail Fund. We are still being arrested. And people need help with now follow-up court dates because charges are still being pursued. What a dream. And finally, for the love of God, vote. Great. So yeah, go vote. Make a plan. Do it. All right. Today's film is the immensely classic and vital to my life piece of art that is Scooby on Zombie Island. It was released in 1998 and it was straight to video, so there is no box office information. I couldn't even find any budget information beyond the fact that they spent at least $50 million on advertising alone. So what a fucking dream. Amazing. Alright, so let's just talk about it, because that's why we're all here. Great. Okay, I'm so stoked. Okay, so we open. It is classic Ruby-Roo of a dark, spooky castle. It is raining, as per the ghosts decide always that it needs to be raining. Very stormy. The gang is being pursued by a monster. The gang. Let's go through it. We have Shaggy and Scooby, or Scoobert. If you want to be official, we have Scoobert and Shaggy. Fred, he's not doing the ascot in this one, but it's fun still. Fred. Velma, gorgeous. Always a stan of Velma. And Daphne. That is the gang. They are being pursued by a scary fish monster. And everyone, of course, gets separated because that is what happens when the monster chases them. Everybody goes in different directions. Keep it fresh. And so they're running through this castle. Of course, Shaggy screams, "Scooby-Doo, where are you?" Because they got separated and they find each other because that's how it goes. We do a classic run around pursued by monster. Fred, Velma, and Daphne are then pursued. Fred's holding both Daphne and Velma because they fell over a ledge. He has both Daphne and Velma in his arms. Fish monster then shows up and attacks Fred. Fred drops Velma because my girl's always getting left behind. But she still somehow grabs Daphne's leg. And then Shaggy shows up, gets Velma. It's good. Then they push a bunch of fucking suits of armor over and trap the fish monster under it. They take off his mask because of course it's a mask. And they're like, "Hey, you're this guy. You were printing money in the basement. That's why you didn't want people to come in here." And he's, of course, like, "I would have got away with it too if it wasn't for, these meddling kids and your dog." But then we cut to Daphne sitting in a studio getting interviewed, and it's her telling the story of the moat monster. That's how they solved the case of the moat monster. So that's a fun transition. And we find out that Daphne now has a series called Coast to Coast with Daphne Blake. And she said that, she wanted to change jobs because the monsters always turned out to just be bad guys in masks. And that's pretty much why the entire gang split up. So now we know that the whole gang is split up. The mystery team is no longer together. They're all doing their own things. But Daphne has a new series that she is starting, and it's called Haunted Houses of America. And she wishes that the gang was back together and that they could find some real ghosts, which of course we then see Fred in the corner because her and Fred are still working together. And he has like a little light bulb moment. Yeah, so then we see what Shaggy and Scooby are up to. And they're working at an airport in customs. Sniffing bags, trying to find contraband. And they only ever seem to find contraband food, which they gather it up in their office, and it's very fun. Then we see Velma is working at a mystery bookshop, and she is very bored. And, she says to herself that solving mysteries is a lot more fun than selling them. Then we see Shaggy and Scooby again, and they have eaten all the food that was in their office, and they get fired. So, everybody is pretty primed and ready to be reunited. And Fred calls them all. He contacts Velma Dinkley, Shaggy Rogers, and Mr. Scoobert, and brings them back together for Daphne's birthday. And he gets them all in the van. Daphne opens the van. They're all like, surprise, it's your birthday. And she's like, oh shit, it's my birthday? Yay, friends. And we find out that they're going to New Orleans to investigate some ghost stories. Which I've been to New Orleans, and I did a ghost tour the last time I went to New Orleans. And it was pretty spooky. Especially because, at, one of the, third stops or something, we were standing outside the place, and the guy is telling us how it's, hella spooky, and this woman used to, torture people, and it was a terrifying murder house. And, he's like, yeah, usually this is the part where, people can, feel the evil energy for the first time, or, can sense the ghosts. And then all of a sudden this woman just got super sick next to me, and started barfing and got taken away. And then the guy was like, yeah, this happens pretty frequently at this point at this house. Something usually happens to somebody. It was like, ah! New Orleans is terrifying and super fun and amazing. So visit when it's not Rona, Not now, but hopefully in the future, when we're safe to travel to places without hurting other people. Let's do that. Everybody, we're all going. We're all going to New Orleans. All right, cool. So back to the movie. So they're going to go to New Orleans. They start a road trip to New Orleans. Oh, man. And then we get this montage of them stopping places, I guess on the way to New Orleans in Louisiana. And there's a song playing, and it's about ghosts always being fake. I wrote down one of the lines while it was playing. It was like, a crook in a suit protecting some loot. Give him the boot. He's fake. Oh my gosh. If that isn't, I need to make sweatshirts that say that. We need a very beautiful graphic poster with that. I would really like that line put on a graphic poster to keep in my home. Just right away. Give him the boot. That's so good. That's good relationship advice. Scooby-Doo movies. Yeah, if you're having a tough time in the relationship department, watch a Scooby-Doo movie. Learn some morals, get your life on track. But yeah, there's a montage of them encountering a lot of fake monsters over and over again, like projectors and stuff like that, and all that jazz. Classic Scooby-Doo stuff. Finally, they arrive in New Orleans, and they're all fed up at this point. And while they're talking about how, there are no real ghosts, a woman overhears them at the little marketplace, which I think, crap, I've been to this marketplace in New Orleans. I forget the actual name of it, but it looked that's the cool thing about this animation. It was very accurate to what New Orleans looks like. All the scenery we get and things like that are real places that I could recognize walking down the streets of. So that was really cool. But yeah, so they're at this market, Fuck, I wish I remember the name of it. If you've been there, you know what it is. It's close to the water. And it's close to, like, it's near, it's technically in French Quarter, I guess. It's, like, right on the outskirts of French Quarter. Okay. But yeah, they're sitting in this marketplace, chatting about how ghosts aren't real and all this sucks. And a woman overhears them and comes over and is like, "Hey, yo, girls. I know a ghost. I know where you could see a real ghost." Her name is Lena Dupree, and she invites them to visit her workplace at Moonscar Island. And she says it's haunted by the ghost of the pirate Morgan Moonscar. And they're like, allegedly. But they do, Velma does a little bit of research and does find out that there have been several disappearances around the island, so that piques their interest. And while they're doing all this, of course Shaggy and Scooby aren't there, because they are so afraid of everything. Why do they still hang out with the gang, dude? They're always being tortured by these... it seems like they aren't that hype about even fake ghosts. They still get very scared and don't have a good time, usually. And it's usually them that are the bait, you know? They're always the bait for the ghosts. So, poor guys. But of course, yeah, they're not with the gang while they talk to Lena. They're off eating a gigantic po' boy. Because those are fire. They're so delicious. But yeah, so they come back to the gang and find out they're going to the island. And they follow Lena to go to the island. They have to take a ferry. And that's when we meet Jacques. He runs the ferry, and he is a large man with a hilarious accent that is phenomenal. The Louisiana accents are absolutely the greatest accents that exist, I think, in the world. To me, I think they are just the best. So rich, so interesting, so bonkers. I'm just like, how I don't know how, I can't really do one very well. My brain can't really even wrap around how their mouth makes the sound of their accent, but I love it. It's very genuinely. I think it's very, like, amazing. I'm not making fun of Louisiana accents. I think genuinely they're, like, phenomenal. Highly recommend. I would like somebody to talk to me in that accent pretty much all the time. It would be great. But okay, yeah, Jacques is there, and he runs the ferry. And he says that people go into that bayou and they never come out. So we get that spooky right away. And then Lena sees Scooby for the first time because he was not with them when she talked to them. And she is shocked. She is terrified of him and is like, "Ooh, I don't know about this." They're like, "What? No, he's like a good guy. He's cool. He's can speak English, so he's not like other dogs." Nobody ever addresses that. Why does nobody address the fact that Scooby is a full-on alien dog that speaks English? But it's okay. We have bigger catfish to fry, y'all. Alright, so, but they're like, no, Scooby's great. It's alright. He loves cats. It's fine. Because her employer has cats. That's what she says. Is why she's so concerned. And yeah, they're like, no, it's okay. Scooby loves cats. So they're all on this ferry, and they see Big Mona, and it is the biggest catfish anyone has ever seen. And it makes fun of Shaggy and Scooby, the catfish, like squirts them with water and splashes them and stuff. And they get upset with it, and they fall off the ferry because of this catfish, right? Like, Scooby tries to, like, get at it, and Shaggy's like, nah, and then they fall into the water. And then as soon as they fall into this water, 2 alligators go into the water after them. And so everybody freaks out, and they're like, oh, no, our friends are about to die But they are saved by a fisherman. He, gets the alligators to bite onto this, metal rod and pulls Shaggy and Scooby on board. And his name is Snakebite Scruggs. That's the name of the fisherman. And he also has a pet, Mojo, the hunting pig. And he is mad at them because they scared off Big Mona. And Jacques yells at him, which is the most iconic line of this entire movie that me and my friends quote almost constantly. Jacques yells from the ferry across the way at Scruggs, "You ain't never caught that fish, and you ain't never gonna did." Iconic. Nobody can tell me that line wasn't a cultural reset. That was it. That was the moment. 1998, we were living different before that line happened to us. It's so good. You ain't never caught that fish, you ain't never gonna did. I really am shocked. I have not made a shirt that says that yet. Oh, fuck. It's coming, y'all. It is coming. I'm gonna wear shirts every day. Oh my gosh. You ain't never caught that fish, and you ain't never gonna do it. Give these screenwriters, honestly, every award. Let's give them all every Oscar. That's the 2021 Oscars. Well, technically 2020. Give them. It's all the Oscars go to the writers of Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island from 1998. I think that's the move, right? Yeah, we had to miss so many big premieres this summer. Give them all. Give every award to this. All right. Okay. So we have that. We spent plenty of time discussing that. Actually, there's never enough time discussing that line. But for the interest of your time and mine, I guess we can move forward. But we will live our lives. Always loving that. Okay. So yeah, great. So they get back on the ferry and they get to the island. Oh, man. And they go to the house, and the whole gang is just, swarmed by cats. There's just a mob of cats that live at this house. And Scooby does not get along well with them. It was all a lie. It was all a charade. Scooby, yeah, right away. It is a mess. And yeah, we meet Lena's employer, Simone Lenoir, who lives in a large southern home on a pepper plantation. And she gives them a tour, but Shaggy and Scooby have to stay in the kitchen because they were all ratchet with the cats. And yeah, but it's okay because they find some gumbo and they add too many of those hot peppers to it. And they scream. So while the gang is on the tour, they hear them screaming and they're like, oh no, they probably saw a ghost. But they go in there and no, it was just them, eating too hot peppers. But, of course, as soon as the gang resumes their tour, Shaggy and Scooby actually do encounter a ghost. And the ghost writes on the wall, "Get out." So that's spooky. And everybody's in there. And Fred is filming Daphne as she's talking next to the scraped on the wall, "Get out." She feels a cool breeze, and then suddenly the word "beware" is added under it. Then, just for extra fun, Velma starts fully fucking levitating off the ground. And the fact that everyone is so calm really is a testament to how many investigations Scooby-Doo has done, right? That everybody's chilling. Velma is floating through the air. And it's like, oh no. And everybody else is like, nah, it's like magnets. Which is like, how? How is it like magnets? Is her dress made of magnets and the floor is a different magnet? How would that be a thing? But yeah, Velma's like, nah, y'all. I am for real levitating and this is scary. So yeah, we get a lot of ghost content right away. Oh man. But yeah, Simone is like, it was probably Moonscar. Captain Moonscar is the ghost that like haunts here the most. And but yeah, Daphne is hype as hell that it's happening, that's going down. And they look at the footage that Fred took of the incident, and they slow it down, and they see Moonscar's ghost. And yeah, they're like, oh fuck yeah, let's do it. And Simone is surprised that they want to stay after seeing the ghost, but she's like, all right, cool, whatever works. This is lit. Hang out, I guess. Which is very suspicious, right? It's like Simone didn't even know anything about these people coming to her house, and it's just down for them to be there for literally no other reason than just like ghosts. It's like, huh? I don't know, I don't know. If somebody showed up here at my apartment and were like, yo, let us sleep in your extra bedroom, eat all your food, I have a dog that's gonna terrorize your cat, and we just want to like listen to all the spooky shit that goes down in your house. I don't think I'd be down. But that's just me, Matilda's very intense also, so I think she's probably the ghost. Every once in a while I'm like, ooh, I think there might be a ghost in this building. But then it's just Matilda being ratchet. So, it'd be like that. Okay, so Velma goes back into the kitchen to look at the scrapey up wall. And she's like, looks like something's under here. So Homegirl goes full in with like a spatula and scrapes up the entire wall to show a sign that says Maelstrom, which apparently was the name of Moonscar's pirate ship. But of course, both Simone and Lena come in and are like, bitch, what are you fucking doing? You scraped up the whole wall? And Velma's just like, oh, I guess I got carried away, my bad. But also, yeah, somebody came to my house and scraped up all my walls. I would not then be like, yeah, you can stay still. I'll still let you stay and stuff. If this is you being here for literally 10 minutes and you're already destroying my walls. Nah, it's cool though. You can still stay. Suspicious, you guys. Alright. So yeah. Simone also lets them know that the ship was used to build the house, which makes no sense why a whole sign would be just under that wall, and that paint just like covered it and you couldn't see it through the... It's fine, this is a cartoon. So yeah, they used part of the ship to build the house, and there's supposedly some buried treasure somewhere on the island, because, Moonscar was a pirate, and pirates have treasure that they bury anywhere, But yeah, cool. Then we see the cats full-on trolling Scooby while he and Shaggy are having a picnic outside, because they had to leave the whole house, because, Simone wasn't having it. And while they're chasing poor little Scooby around, these cats, Scooby accidentally scares Big Mona again, and they get chased by Mojo the hunting pig. And then they fall into a ditch, and we see this spooky ooky green swirl happen above them, and then Moonscar shows up as a reanimated corpse in the ditch with them, and Shaggy gets so scared that he jumps like 20 feet out of the fucking ditch and pulls Scooby up. And they get away, and they run into Bo, who is the gardener, who is just stacked up. This man is just a brick house. He is fine. He is a hot cartoon man. And his name is Bo, just for added fun. And yeah. Bo doesn't believe that they were being chased by zombies and is just mad that they're like messing up his garden. But Scooby and Shaggy tell them about the zombies. And despite that, the gang still is like, we're staying. And still a little bit skeptical. Which, I guess, okay, it does make sense. It makes sense for the gang to be like this, for the mystery team to be like, yeah, we've been through a lot of stuff. This is fine. Yeah, we're still gonna hang out. But then, of course, Shaggy sees another ghost in the mirror in their room. And this one is of a Confederate colonel warning them to leave. Like, full on being like, not just being like, get out, I want you to get out. It's being like, get out because, like, yo, it ain't safe, you know? But they're just scared of it. And also, all this spooky shit only happens to poor little Scooby and Shaggy. Always. Man. Why do they hang out with them? Some psychologists let me know. What is up with Scooby and Shaggy still being a part of the mystery team? Like, for their own mental health standing. What's going on there? Okay. So yeah, they tell them. Well, they tell the rest of the gang that they saw a goose in their room. There's a goose. And the Velma and everybody comes in and investigates. And she finds that the mirror belonged to a Confederate soldier. His, like, name is, like, on the back of it. And Simone is like, oh, yeah. There used to be Confederate barracks on this island. This island has, like, mad history. And it's like, okay, so it's a pepper plantation. There were pirates here. And there's Confederate barracks. Jeez Louise, you know? There's a lot going on in this little place. So, yeah, then it's finally dinner time. This has only been, like, 2 hours. All of this has happened in about 2 hours. It's finally dinner time. Shaggy and Scooby are not allowed to eat in the house at all. So they go and they eat in the van. And while they're eating in the van, there is a bunch of zombies come out of the bayou. And they get scared. And they run away in the van. And the gang can hear Scooby and Shaggy screaming all the way from inside the house is where they hear them. And so they go to investigate. And Velma suspects that it's Bo because he is, like, the only extra character and he's, like, mad all the time. And so she's like, Bo, you're coming with me while we investigate. And, of course, we need to leave Daphne and Fred together. So, you know, because that just be how it is. That's how we know this to go. So, yeah. Bo and Velma are investigating, going around looking for Shaggy and Scooby. Velma is full ice queen to Bo, a queen by all record, and very icy. It's very mean to him. And Bo, though, does keep her from falling into some quicksand, but she's still like, thank you, but I'm still suspicious. Then we see Fred and Daphne. And they find the mystery machine, and of course Scooby and Shaggy are no longer in there. But Daphne does get, like, touched on the shoulder, and she full, like, throws this body over herself, and it's a zombie. And then also Shaggy and Scooby were in the bush behind her as well, and they come out. And Daphne is like, alright, cool, we caught one of these people. It's definitely going to be Bo in a mask. And she goes to try and pull it off, but it's not coming off. And Fred is like, whatever, you're just not a very strong woman. And, because of course. And Fred tries to pull on it, and he pulls the whole head off the zombie, revealing that it is real. The zombie is real. This isn't a game anymore. This is when child me was like, oh, fuck. This isn't a game. This shit is real. Oh, God. And, of course, they're filming all of this, you know, for posterity. And they're all pretty freaked the fuck out. Just like everyone in the audience. Both Matilda and I were quaking in our boots. And, yeah. Then, of course, the zombie comes back to life and takes its head, puts it back on its body, and it's very scary. And then another horde of zombies. And this time, the zombies are not only in, like, military and pirate outfits. You also see that some are in, like, cliche tourist clothing, like Hawaiian shirts, with like cameras around their necks and stuff. And they all come out of the bayou, and there's a big horde of them, and they start to chase them. And as the horde chases them, the gang gets split up in the chaos, of course. And Daphne accidentally causes Fred to drop the camera into quicksand, which makes them lose the film evidence for their show. But we do get the absolute banger and a half, the song It's Terror Time Again, that plays. Yo. Scooby-Doo music is straight fucking fire. Alright? Honestly, nobody can really tell me that the Scooby-Doo soundtracks don't fucking go hard, because they do. They are immaculate. They are so good. I love them. And they're so good. This one especially, alright? It's Terror Time Again. I don't know how that's not on everybody's Halloween playlist immediately as soon as October hits. That shit should be ringing through your rooms. It is so good. Highly recommend. Go look it up. Listen to it right now. You can pause. Listen to it. Okay, now you've come back now that you have listened to It's Terror Time Again. Right? I was right. Right? It slaps. It's a fucking bop. Alright? Cool. I'm glad that we all have that information. We are all on the same page. We are all in agreement. Okay, let's go back to the movie. So there's a montage that plays of them all getting chased by these zombie wombies while that hit plays. And Shaggy and Scooby, oh man, they like fall into like a weird cave. And they discover these wax voodoo dolls that look like Fred, Velma, and Daphne. And they start to play with the dolls. And they involuntarily control, surprise, Fred, Velma, and Daphne. Who have now, at this point at the end of the montage of being chased around, have found each other. And they start to like float through the air and all this bullshit. And we figure out, yo, they got fucking voodoo dolls? They control them. Yikes. So then, Shaggy and Scooby drop the voodoo dolls when they notice that there are a bunch of bats in this cave. They get scared of them and they run out. The rest of the gang and Bo go back to the house where the lights have all gone out. And Bo's like, oh, it must be the generator. I can fix it. And they're like, no. You don't get to leave. We're watching you all night. Like, we think it's you. You are the bad guy. So they're investigating the house in the dark. Whew. And Fred falls and discovers a secret passageway in the house. And we also find Lena is there. And she tells them that zombies drag Simone away down this secret passageway. And so they're like, oh shit, let's go get her. We gotta go save this woman. And so they're walking down. And while they're walking, Velma sees footsteps on the ground. But no drag marks. Then the passageway ultimately leads to a secret chamber. Which Velma's like, looks like they do voodoo rituals in here. Somehow she knows what a secret voodoo chamber looks like. And then she confronts Lena right there to her face in front of everyone, puts her on blast, and is like, yo, I know that you lied, alright? There are no foot drag marks. There are just little walkie normal heel marks in this dirt. So I know that she didn't get dragged, but I'm gonna drag you. And then Simone appears, and her and Lena use the voodoo dolls to trap the gang. So I guess there was like only a moment overlap between when Shaggy and Scooby were in there and got chased out to when Simone and Lena arrived. But it's okay. You know, time does not... time is so flexible in this universe. So yeah, Simone says once the harvest moon reaches the midnight point, the ceremony will begin. And she's got them all tied up, and they're laying there. And they're all like, you're not going to get away with this. And Simone's like, I've been getting away with it for 200 years, Beach. You can't tell me I'm not getting away with it. And she says that every harvest moon they drain the life force from victims of the island to preserve their immortality. And then these bitches transform into cats. Like these scary cat creatures. And we see Scooby and Shaggy, who are still on the surface of the island, running around scared. They get to the dock where the ferry is, and they're like relieved. And like, oh, Jacques, what up, Jacques? We gotta get the fuck out of here. And Jacques' like, oh, I'm so glad that I fucking found you guys. And then he transforms into a heckin' big ol' cat demon man and chases them. And I don't know why he's a ginger cat. I don't know the cat lore, but I don't know. Yeah, he turns way more into a cat than the other two do. Like, he, like, rips all his clothes off when he transforms. And the other two just, like, got tails and, like, ears and some fangs. But they're still wearing their, like, cute dresses. I don't know. Remake Cats, but it's, like, Scooby-Doo. Isn't that good? I think that's a good idea. Be better than weird, scary Taylor Swift boob cat. That was awful. Why was she wearing fucking heels? I'm sorry. I'm not gonna do cats, y'all. I'm never gonna do cats. I have had that requested a few times to talk about cats, and the experience I had at cats is not to be relived, and I don't want to relive it, and it was terrible and so scary. I do not recommend that film, not even for the lols. I do not recommend it. It's not worth it. Don't do it. Okay. Back to this movie about cats. Great. Simone is telling them, the trapped members of the gang, she tells them that 200 years ago, she and Lena were part of a group of settlers on the island who worshipped a cat god. And when Moonscar and his crew invaded the island, they chased the settlers into the bayou, leading them to be killed by alligators. It's very violent and scary and sad. So then you feel very sad, right? It's like, that's fucked. So they murdered all these people via alligators. And so Simone and Lena escaped, and they prayed to their cat god to curse Moonscar. And their wish was granted, and they were transformed into these werewolf cats. Well, I guess the werewolf is wrong. Werecats. Werecats. And they killed all the pirates, as one does. But in doing so, they cursed themselves to be these werecats forever, I guess. And, yeah. Then, after the pirates were all murdered, some settlers came and started a pepper plantation, and they figured out that they could use them to drain their life energy to become immortal. So that's where all they went. Then, it wasn't enough for Lena just to, like, get people to come on the island. They needed a way to get people onto the island, so they met Jacques, a ferryman, who would bring them even more victims because he wanted immortality. How did that conversation go down? Right? Like, Jacques was like, hey, yo, ladies, I've been seeing you for a long time. You're always staying the same age. Let me in on that. That's probably exactly how it went down. Yeah. That's exactly how the conversation went down. Cool. Okay. So yeah, then we see that Jacques has captured Scooby and Shaggy. And is all like, what's the matter? Cat got your tongue? Ugh. We got jokes. But then all these zombies show up and attack Jacques. So that's good. They get free. So then Shaggy and Scooby fall down into the cave again. I guess they've only stayed in this one block radius of the island. I don't know how big the island is. I guess it's not that big. And they fall into the cave again. And they get chased by the werecats, which, distracts them, while Velma frees herself and the others. And then they find pieces of Lena and Simone's clothes, because, their clothes got a little tattered when they transformed, but didn't fall full off like Jacques. But thankfully they got a little tattered, so that they could take their clothes and put them on two of the voodoo dolls, and make them into voodoo dolls. I do not think that is how that works, but I don't know. Doesn't seem right, but it works in the moment. And so then they're like, gotcha. And they get them right as they are draining Shaggy and Scooby's life force, so that's good. But then the voodoo dolls accidentally get destroyed, and the werecats surround them. But luckily, it's too late. Because again, time is bonkers in this universe. I guess enough time has passed, the moon has moved too much, and they can't perform the ceremony, and it's perfectly right after when they can't perform it, and they turn into fucking dust in front of them. These werecat monsters turn into dust and wisp away in the wind, and all the zombies are finally laid to rest. And as that's happening, the colonel that was in their mirror shows up and is like, "Thank you," and then evaporates. Oh, man. And Daphne is all bummed out because they have no evidence of any of this happening. Because their camera got destroyed. But then, luckily, Bo reveals himself to be an undercover police officer who was sent to investigate the numerous disappearances on the island. Which is not a fucking thing, but sure. But yeah. Then Daphne just asked Bo to be a guest star on her show, And then it's starting to become morning and the sun is rising. And we see Fred and Daphne are standing at the docks. And Velma and Bo are standing. And they have this weird flirting between the two, the couples as the sun rises. Because this whole time, Fred and Daphne have been, making little jabs at each other, of Fred being like, "Oh, Lena's kind of cute," and Daphne being like, "Okay, go hang out with your girlfriend then." He's like, "She's not my girlfriend." So I do not understand. I've never really understood what it is. I thought they were together. I guess they are not together. I don't know. I haven't looked enough into the Scooby-Doo canon to understand if Fred and Daphne are an item or not. But then Velma and Bo, though, he's all like, "Man, I've always wanted to, write some detective novels." And Velma's all like, "Ooh, I own a mystery bookshop and also love detective novels." Romance. But I thought, I don't know. I don't know. No, Velma is a lesbian. That is canon, I think. Or maybe she's bi. But I know that she's queer. That is canon. We found that out. That I remember finding out. So, what? Maybe I made that up. Maybe I made that up for myself. Because I want it to be true. Who's to say? I don't know. Okay, so yeah, that's the weird moment. It's a weird moment that I don't like in the movie. Is them all standing there, but whatever. Yeah. But then they get on the ferry, and I guess one of them knows how to operate a fucking ferry. Because Jacques is gone. But I guess it's simple enough. One of them figured it out. And so they take off. But Scooby isn't on the boat, and he is running behind because he was picking some peppers, and he runs to jump on the ferry. And while he jumps, he disrupts Snakebite from catching Big Mona once again. And then we see, while they're on the ferry, that a bunch of cats have gotten onto the ferry. And Scooby goes, "Rikes?" I think he goes, "Rikes, rats." And that's the end. It's the end of the movie. So I guess this whole film was what? Just a anti-cats PSA? Like, don't trust cats. High-key agree. I agree. Matilda's over here, next to me. All she does is just stare at me, and then she stares out the window. She looks mad. All the time. I don't trust her. Yeah, I don't trust my cat. Yeah. So yeah, I agree with the moral of this story. Don't trust cats. Okay. Alright, so yeah, that's the end. I think this one is probably going to be pretty short, because that movie is only like an hour long. I think it's an hour and 10 minutes, actually, or something like that. Hour 10, 15, I don't know. I could have looked it up, but I didn't, so you're welcome. This one's probably going to be a little shorter, but yeah, Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island. So, let's look at what the critics have to say. It has an 86% on Rotten Tomatoes. Hell fuck yes. Finally. You know, I pretty fully agree. And 86% feels very right. I thought at first, I was like, maybe a little more. Maybe a little more than that, but no. Actually, no. Yeah, with the weird romance stuff really did take it down those 14 points for me from 100. It's unnecessary. But the rest of it, yeah, so phenomenal. So well made. It is. It's a solid B. A B plus, I guess, actually. It's a B plus. It only has a 3.6 on Letterboxd, though, which I thought was really shocking, because Letterboxd is like a recent development in our world. So I thought that like it would be a bunch of people writing reviews nostalgic about the movie, right? Which holds up. It's better now than I even thought it was as a kid. So I thought it would have even higher ranking on Letterboxd, but it does not. People are like, eh. But I guess that's everybody on Letterboxd, really. Everybody on Letterboxd is pretty negative and upset at the world, I guess. Yeah, I'm coming for you. If you're an avid Letterboxd user, I'm an avid Letterboxd user. A lot of pessimists, a lot of critical critics out there. But most of my Letterboxd reviews are really high stars. I never, am afraid to give a 5-star. I'm like, this shit's great! The best! But yeah, I would give it 4 stars, which would be like 80%, yeah. But most people will not. Well, a fun little fact I did find out was that Snakebite Scruggs, the man who ain't never gonna catch Big Mona and ain't never gonna did, he was voiced by Mark Hamill. You know, of the Star Warsian fame. That's really fun. It's a big get. It's a big get. It's very fun. He does whatever he wants. Yeah, he's been in lots of odd things. He's done a lot of fun voiceover work. I think I'm a fan of Mark Hamill. I think so. I'm not really confident. Maybe check back in with me, but I'm pretty sure. I'd have to think about it a little more. But yeah, okay. Do I relate to Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island? Yeah, honestly, high-key, I do relate pretty hard to Scooby and Shaggy in a lot of ways. And I think I always have, even as a kid, I have loved Scooby-Doo since I was little. I remember having many a pair of Scooby-Doo pajamas, many a shirt. I had a Scooby stuffed animal that I really liked a lot growing up. I am a Scooby-Doo fan through and through. The old school What's New Scooby-Doo. All that jazz. Hanna-Barbera. I was a big fan. I watched a lot of Hanna-Barbera. But yeah, I do relate to, like, the hanging out with pals that like scary things and you don't, but you're there. Being goofy and weird. Really loving sandwiches. God, I love sandwiches. Are there people that don't like sandwiches, though? Fucking love sandwiches. Definitely not as much of, like, the stoner vibe as Shaggy. I think I relate more to Scooby-Doo than anybody in the show. I am a Scooby-Doo. Yeah. I relate pretty hard to Scooby-Doo, the alien dog. Oh, man, what a phenomenal movie! Everybody watch it. For real, if you have not seen Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island and you listen to this whole podcast, still go watch it. I know I talk about everything that happens, but it's still not as good as watching it. Oh man, what a delight. Fucking slaps. I watch it a lot. I've seen this movie so many times. I think, yeah, it's probably second or third most watched movie in my life. Yeah, Space Jam is number one. I watch it every year. There's nothing else I watch every year, I don't think. But I have watched Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island a lot of years. Like, I watched it last year and the year before, and this year, at least. And I watched it in college. So, yeah. Hold up. It's so good. I did see that they made a sequel. Someone talked to me about it, though, and were like, it's just like the same movie again, but it's 2019. But maybe I will watch that one. I don't know. Maybe I will. I think I'm curious enough to watch it. I don't know that I'm gonna, like, do a whole podcast about it. Maybe I'll just do, like, a little blurb. And a future episode, I don't think I'll make a whole another episode. We'll see. If you're clamoring for it, maybe. But that's just mainly curiosity. I want to see how it's different. Or if it is at all. Or if it's just really a remake. It says that it's a sequel. But, I don't know. It's like Return to Zombie Island. And it's like, why and how? Like, the end of this movie is all the zombies, like, stopping being zombies. Unless, I guess, somebody else comes and becomes a cat god. I don't know. They didn't destroy, like, the altar or anything. They didn't get rid of any of the worship place. So, I guess it's feasible. Oh, man. So much speculation on my part. I should have just fucking watched it, and then I could have just told you at the end of this episode, but, you know, we learn. We have good ideas, you know, that we don't do, so here we are. Great. So yeah, I guess this is probably going to be a short and sweet episode. I guess not that short. None of these episodes are really that short, but, you know... I hope you're having a great week, or have had a great week. Continue to have a great week, that you're doing all right, staying safe. Let me know what's everybody gonna do for the Halloween times. What are we dressing up as? I'm still gonna dress up. I'm not fucking going to the club, but bet your sweet ass I'm still gonna put a costume on. I fucking love costumes. Oh my god. It's such a fun time. I love a costume. I'm pretty stoked about my costume. I came up with my costume for this year last year. So, and there have been some challenges to my idea of doing it with like some developments in the news and some choices by people who created the character. I don't know if that's going to give it away too much, but I'm still going to do it, and I think it's the right choice. But we'll see. I could be wrong, you know, and I could get flamed up for it, and I would deserve it, and I'm open to that being a possibility. But I think I think I'm doing it right. I'm doing it the right way. We'll see. We'll see. But what's your costume? I hope it's not as possibly controversial as mine is gonna be. But great. Yeah. All right. Cool. Well, yeah. That was that movie. This was a pretty ratchet ep. A lot of asides and tangents. What a dream. Yeah. Cool. Thanks for listening. I love you all very, very, really a lot. So very much. And stay healthy and stay safe and protect others. Exercise your right to vote, and please vote for someone who's not going to hurt a lot of people if they continue to be our president. Fuck Trump. I said it. Yeah. Great. Yeah, so I'll talk to y'all later. And this week, my little sign off. We're staying weird and ratchet. Here we go. I love you, and I will gladly uncover a cat god centered murder plot to save you any day. All right, I've been Allie, your friendly neighborhood fat friend. Talk at you next week. Bye.